The New England coast hosts a wide range of marine life as well as various forms of human activity. This includes tourism, for example, commercial fishing, and various attempts to conserve the natural environment. Now, the people invested in these areas do not always agree on what the correct direction to take is in terms of our relation to Massachusetts waters. An example of an area where this conflict comes to head is shellfish aquaculture. Now, it may be surprising that these small, seemingly simple invertebrate creatures have such a complex and important role in both the environment and in the economy, especially on Cape Cod. What I hope to do with this series of maps is inform the public on the basics of shellfish ecology and their environmental role, and the effect this has on local economies, and why conservation and sustainable harvesting are important. Now, in terms of the concerns the public can have related to shellfish, one of the most obvious and, in my opinion, the most legitimate is the potential they have to carry various diseases and parasites. Now, this is a far greater concern on the American West Coast, and even more so in Asia than it is on the American East Coast. That said, shellfish anywhere can carry diseases. They have been reported to carry fecal coliforms. There have been alarming instances of infections such as hepatitis, but again, this is more of a problem on the West Coast. What we do deal with locally are various parasites specific to shellfish. Somewhat alarmingly, a shellfish parasite known as QPX, quahog parasite unknown, has appeared in recent years, and this casts doubt on the safety of having a large shellfish industry. That said, there are ways to test for the presence of these diseases, and further development of the government departments that regulate the shellfish industry may help assuage these concerns. There is, of course, another concern, and that is the aesthetics of large shellfish farms off the shore and the effect they may have on the tourism industry and on the property values of coastal homes. A lot of coastal homeowners consider shellfish farms to be an eyesore, and one can see why they may think that. Now, farmers respond by claiming that the public has a lack of understanding of how important shellfish farming is to the local economy. The Massachusetts Department of Food and Agriculture hopes to foster a dialogue between the various users of the Massachusetts coast and to de escalate potential conflicts. However, urban and suburban development on the coast are increasing in the 21st century, and this problem may very likely be exacerbated. Now, for a look at how the shellfish industry is regulated, here is an interactive map of the growing areas designated by the Division of Marine Fisheries and also the stations used for sampling. Now, these growing areas range from approved to restricted, and some are restricted on certain conditions, such as weather, time of year, observed fluctuations in shellfish populations, etc. You can see some of the restricted areas are in New Bedford and Fall River harbors off the coast of Plymouth. also near Boston. This map also depicts the various sampling stations. These vary in purpose. Some are meant for tracking populations, some are meant for tracking the health of certain species of shellfish. Um, might be somewhat surprising how common they are, but considering the problem I mentioned before of shellfish carrying diseases, there is a reason for these being so heavily concentrated on the Massachusetts coast in areas where shellfish harvesting is particularly important. Now, lobster aquaculture is somewhat of a side note, but it's worth noting that it is regulated by similar means. Right here are zones also designated by the Division of Marine Fisheries, which extends further off the coast and partly outside of Massachusetts waters. This right here are statistics for the 1997 harvest, which for some reason is the last year available through the Division of Marine Fisheries. I'm not entirely sure why they have not been keeping track of statistics for more recent years. Perhaps they have and just haven't released them. That's somewhat hard to tell. But anyway, back to the public debate over shellfish aquaculture. This is a point that I think must be emphasized, and that is the environmental benefits of shellfish. Shellfish are known to filter nitrogen, excessive organic materials, especially chlorophyll, and this helps improve water quality and the general marine ecosystem health, especially in regards to eutrophication. To understand the role of shellfish in the coastal environment, one must understand the process of eutrophication. Eutrophication is defined as an excessive buildup of organic matter that results to decreased water quality and clarity, cascading towards a loss of species diversity and a potential mass die off of aquatic plants and animals. This problem is common in the coastal estuaries of southern Massachusetts and also in various bodies of fresh water. We will later get to how easy that is to observe through aerial imagery. Studies have shown that home septic systems commonly pollute coastal estuaries and cause eutrophication. This problem has potential to increase as Cape Cod increasingly suburbanizes. And this problem is, of course, harmful to seafood production. Below, I have included a swipe of aerial imagery of Plymouth's Great South Pond, a body of fresh water recently affected by eutrophication. You can observe here a massive decline in water quality and clarity between the years 2013 and the year 2021. This can be observed on several other local ponds. It's also been observed to the north of here in Concord's historically famous Walden Pond. Now, of course, one way to prevent this on the coast would be by increasing the volume of shellfish grown and harvested, as they can filter the harmful organic materials that lead to this process. This would lead to an overall increased health of the marine ecosystem and create a positive feedback loop for the fishing and aquaculture industries. One thing also worth noting is that eutrophic waters are obviously not aesthetically pleasing, not good for the tourist industry, and probably not good for coastal property values. I think this is something that should be considered in the public debate over shellfish aquaculture. Now, in addition to understanding the controversies surrounding shellfish, it's just important to understand the various species found here and where they are found. This is a map of habitat regions delineated by the Massachusetts Division of Marine Fisheries. These have been delineated using scientific research and knowledge of local fishermen, and here you can see a variety of species. One of the most common is the quahog. This is easily found on Massachusetts shores and one of the most important to the shellfish industry. Below is an image of quahogs. Also, the rather interesting razor clam, aka Atlantic jackknife. This is a different species from the Pacific razor clam, but it's worth noting just to observe the variety of species found off the coast. Now, these do overlap a great deal. This can make them difficult to compare on the complex map above, so I've included another swipe block between two species. One is the quahog and one is the bay scallop. And you can see by swiping back and forth that some of them overlap, particularly the one right in the southeast corner of Cape Cod Bay. In conclusion, I would like to draw this discussion back to the potential of shellfish to solve the problem of eutrophication. Eutrophicated waters are not good for the environment, they are not good for the fishing industry, they are probably not good for people visiting our shores as tourists. Concerns about the aesthetics of the coast should probably be redirected away from aquacultural infrastructure and towards the various environmental problems that increase with the suburbanization and development of Cape Cod. I think that informing the public on the environmental benefits of shellfish will help reduce the controversy related to the industry.